And boy, every day I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more and more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more and more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more and more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more and more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more and every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more and more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more and more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more and more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more and more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more and more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. Are you changing? I'm growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. Are you changing? Growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more every day, not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. I'm growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. I'm not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing, growing more every day. Not the same as I was, not even on yesterday. I'm still changing. Hello, Alden. I'm growing more each and every day. I'm still changing. Thank God for your joining us this afternoon. I was intending to come on at exactly 3 o'clock, but I even scheduled it back an hour later so I could be on time, and I still got busy doing something and came on a little late. We thank God for being here with you this afternoon. I'm going to put this on speaker in a little while. Just put on the stand so I get back to work. As you can see, this is the opening for the stairway. I got to finish putting this side right on here, just like I got on the other side. I got to put some right here on this board, and that'll be so I can finish this side. And then I'll have the side to be able to close the stairwell up pretty much after that. Then I'll put the ceiling in up there and get the ceiling in the upper room. So once I get that done, I'll be working on the upper room. Well, that's what I'm going to start working on as soon as I get this other board in there. I'll be working on the upper room is what I'm going to be working on next few days. And it should be, the walls and the ceiling should be done by the middle of next week in the upper room. I may not have put the flooring in, but the walls and stuff should be in. And I should be ready to prime it in a little while. As you can see, I got part of the ceiling up and the part of the wall up over there. So it's coming together pretty good. Just take some time. Yep, making good progress, really. I'm very encouraged. One of the things I had to realize is that no help is coming. And once I accepted that fact, then things started to move along quite nicely when I realized it's just me and the Lord, and that's enough. Although we may be alone, we're never alone. We got the Lord on our side. I thank God for Jesus today. I'm going to go over here and try to sneak over here and put this on the stand, and then I can continue to talk with you as I get ready to start work, because I want to get this work done. So that's what I'm going to be working on. And I may put some music on, listen to it in the background as I'm working too. While I'm talking and working, I can maybe figure it all out together. How about that? Try to anyway. So I'll go over here and try to find my stand, put it on the speaker stand. Okay. tripod's gonna be back here in the dark, kind of, because I got to keep the light where I'm working. Hopefully I'll fix it so y'all can see me a little bit. But I see, get myself together here before I turn the camera back on me. Make sure I got myself all together, right, so I don't be looking all crazy. You know, it got kind of cool here. We got some rain. The lady at the seed shop told me that Friday was supposed to be the day we're going to get some rain. I was in there buying some seeds on Thursday. She told me Saturday should be the good day to plant and do stuff. Because she said it was supposed to be raining Thursday through Saturday, but it didn't rain much, I don't think, Thursday. It might have rained some, but it didn't rain too much, I don't think, Thursday. But when the rain did come, it might have rained some Thursday. But I know one thing, it didn't rain much on yesterday, but it sure did come a good rain today. Matter of fact, when I went out there, I forgot about the pups that I was up here working. They out there barking. Y'all heard them yapping and stuff. I didn't pay too much attention to that. It wasn't raining at the time. But they just kept on yapping and yapping after a while. It was started raining here. And I got to thinking, I was about finished, ready to go down and get some lunch or do something. And I got to thinking, well, they keep making a whole lot of records. Better go down and check on them first. And went out and checked on them. They done got all tangled up together. And it was raining. They done got drenched. They were so glad to see me. They was all tangled up together. And poor little old Tracker, he's about to get choked to death. He's all wrapped all, the sport done tangled him up all kind of different ways. He was about to be hung in the chains and stuff. So I got them all untangled. Sport untangled real easy, just released him. Man, Tracker was tied up so bad I had to, took some effort to get him untangled, kind of. But I got him untangled in about a minute or so. It didn't look too long, too hard, but he was tangled up pretty good. Okay. Let's see if I can turn the camera around here so you see something a little bit better than just the blackness of the wall. Okay. Well, let's see. I'm not sure where we got you showing now. Let's see. Okay. I'm fixing, you can see the area where I'm going to be working, kind of. I'm fixing to go back over here, get started work. I'll be talking to you, but I'm going to be working. That's what I'm going to be focusing on. So I'm just going to let it play on. I'll probably play me some music and stuff too, so y'all maybe hear some music and hear me working at the same time. I'm just going to let it play on for right now. I get to work, and I'm going to do a live at 8 o'clock on 4715. Hopefully I'll be able to do it from the upper room. Now hopefully I'll have some of this ceiling mud and tape so you can see it better in the upper room. But I'm going to get this enclosed for the stairwell. So what I got to do, I've got to go over and put a couple pieces in. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to be working on this other side over here. And I may adjust the camera after a while. Then I'm going to get over here and get started working on this. That's what I need to do. Before, I wouldn't do anything when I was doing a live. I would just do the live and just put all my work off. But I realized I need to stop doing that. Otherwise, I never get the job done. One of the things I started to realize also, I was telling you, I realized I've been working without a blueprint. And I call this job I've been doing, this house, my wilderness project is what I used to call it. Sometimes the Lord will give you an assignment. He doesn't tell you it's your assignment. You just think it's something you thought of doing and you start doing it. When I bought this house, I had no idea this really was a wilderness project, and this was something of the Lord for me to do. As I said, when my late wife died, I was feeling all alone in the world, felt abandoned by my children, like there was no purpose in me being in this world. And I just kind of came back to Arkansas, and although I just turned 60, when my wife died, I felt like I really didn't have no reason to live. I thought surely she would outlive me. She was 59 when she died. I thought surely that she was going to outlive me by a bunch of years. I don't know why I thought that. Longevity ran in both of our families, but I guess longevity actually was longer in my family than in hers. And so my dad lived to be 92, and my mom lived to be 96. So, and she was 11 years younger than my dad. So longevity reigns in my family. My grandpa, when he died, he was like 83, I think, and my grandma was like 86 or 87 when she died. Now, my dad's parents, they died in their 70s, I think, but they died when my dad's mom died before I was born. I think she was in her 70s, and I think he was like 77 or something like that. He died when I was like about a year and a half old or something. So, but longevity runs in the family. This is what I know. I thought surely she would have outlived me by a bunch of years, but it didn't turn out that way. So I'm still here. And when I bought that house, I thought, well, this is going to be my wilderness project. It's something to do until I die. I figured I'd just die in the wilderness. I bought about the worst house I could find, and I thought, well, I'll just fix on it, work on it, and if I don't get it finished, I just die in the wilderness. Well, and my oldest daughter, she would say things like, I need to stop checking for people that ain't checking for me. Well, they weren't checking for me. They weren't checking on me. They weren't concerned about me. So at some point, I decided to go on the line and start trying to check out to see if I could meet somebody online, because I didn't feel like going to meet nobody in person. Well, one thing, COVID hit during that time. It wasn't safe to go out and try to meet people in public. And so I just thought, well, let me just contact some people online and see if I can find some interesting conversation. And I kind of found that it was interesting. I hadn't talked to anybody in 40 years, except my late wife. You know, we was together for 40 years. So I hadn't talked to anybody in about 40-something years, 45 years or something. So it was difficult to try to figure out how to even talk to somebody. I was totally out of practice. So went online and began to try to do that. And everything about it, my daughter said, all these people are fake, ain't none of them real. Well, it seemed real. It was interesting enough for a while. I even went to Colombia, because I thought I met somebody there, and I went over there. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to find out if it's real. And I went over there, didn't meet nobody in person that I knew. The people got there, it was sort of like a scam. But it was an interesting experience. And when I went to Colombia, I did a lot of fasting and praying while I was there. I was there for, you know, you wouldn't believe it. I was there for 30 days. Didn't meet nobody, didn't have much of a good time. But then you got to do a lot of fasting and praying. Spend some time with the Lord. That was good. I was disappointed. I thought, well, this didn't work. That meeting somebody, that wasn't a good idea, I guess. Spent some money doing it. Wasted a trip, sort of, the way I felt. Because I basically was broke when I got there. I mean, it was weird. I supposed to have a lot of money. I had like $3,000-$4,000 in my checking account when I started to get ready for that vacation. At the time I got ready to go on the vacation, I had $100 to my name. Other than buying my ticket, because I had to buy my return ticket and everything, I had $100 when I got there. I didn't even have enough to pay for a whole week's worth of motel room and stuff. And one of my brothers sent me some money. One of my brothers owed me some money. I was going to use my overdraft protection on my bank account, and I should have been able to get $500 from that. But somehow, because they had messed up my mailing address, they had canceled my overdraft protection on my account. So I couldn't get no money from my bank. I was going to borrow some money. I was going to borrow $3,000 because we were going to do some remodeling on the house. I've been doing a lot of work on my house, and I've been paying for stuff out of pocket. That's what happened to my $3,000. Had to buy some new tires for my car. Had to replace a windshield.
And I had been doing a lot of remodeling on the house, so I done spent up all my ready cash pretty much. But my brother and I, we was gonna get a loan so we could buy my mother's house or fix on it. And I'm just knowing we could get the money to do the loan. I could have qualified for $2,000 or $3,000 loan on my own. But we needed about $7,000, and along with his income, I thought we'd get the money so we could purchase my mother's, get the stuff to fix up on my mother's house like we needed to. And we went to the bank to get the loan. This guy, my credit was good, so we should have been able to get the loan. I had sufficient income, enough to, like I said, I could have borrowed $2,000 or $3,000 on my own. When we went to apply for the loan, I knew his credit was a little suspect, but the thing is, he was getting like $2,500 a month for Social Security. And his rent was $2,100 or something, or $1,900. And he had a car note or something, other different things, whatever. He had some, with his house note and everything, he had no just expendable money. I think his expenses was like $1,900 for rent. That didn't include the utilities and stuff. And I think he was getting like $2,100 from Social Security or something like that. Anyway, he was gonna have only like $200 or $300 a month left. He didn't have any money. Of course, the loan got declined at the last minute, just before my vacation was go. He owed me $300 or $400. He couldn't pay any of that money back. He couldn't give me anything. And when I got ready to go to Columbia, he was living in Memphis. I went to Memphis, catch an airplane out of Memphis. And when I was there, I tried to get cell phone access because my cell phone, I had Metro, and they don't do international service. I couldn't get an international phone plan, so my phone wasn't going to work when I got to Columbia. So that was going to be a problem. Trying to get a phone. My brother was trying to see about getting the phone, getting me put on his plan or something. He couldn't get that together. I was there in Memphis. And while I was there in Memphis trying to get ready to go, there was something with some kind of requirement. They needed something done. And I went online to try to apply for it. And I thought it didn't work, but it did go through, but they didn't tell me. So it was time for my flight. I tried to get them to help me to make sure it was done, and they couldn't get it done. And my flight was taken off at 6 o'clock that morning. And they couldn't help me get the thing together. They said, well, don't worry, we'll just get you on the flight the next day or something. I said, I can't be here another day. My ticket is non-refundable. They got me on the flight the next day, as it turns out. But I thought with a non-refundable ticket, I might just be messed up. I mean, I have to catch this flight is what I was saying. There's no way you're going to make this flight. So I didn't make that flight. I'm stuck in Memphis. They told me they'd get me on the next flight the next morning, the next day. Well, I'm there in Memphis, and my brother lives there in Memphis. So I called him and told him I couldn't make my flight. I was still there. He was trying to help me get a cell phone or something. Instead of him coming picking me up, and we could spend the day together, he left me at the airport while he trying to help me get a cell phone or something. Couldn't do it. Finally, I called him at like 6 o'clock, 5 or 6 o'clock. I got back to, he told me, well, he's sorry he wasn't able to help me get a phone. I done left me at the airport all day. I hadn't had anything to eat. I called him and finally got in touch with him around 5:30, 6 o'clock. He told me he's sorry he couldn't do that something. I wanted him to come pick me up something. He didn't have enough money, enough gas to come pick me up, take me to his house so I could have dinner with him or something. So I spent the night in the airport. I thought I'd go around there and get me something to eat. I had enough money that I could at least got me something to eat in the airport. The restaurant had closed due to COVID at 5 o'clock. So there was no place to buy anything in the airport. Had to buy a bag of chips, and I had a bottle of water and a bag of chips. That's what I had. About a 50-cent bag of chips and some water. That's all I had for a 24-hour period of time. I wrote a song about it. 24 or 48 hours 24 hours in Memphis or something. It was terrible. 33 hours something. for however long I was there in Memphis. It was not a good experience being in Memphis like that. It was horrible. But when I got to Columbia, didn't have any money. He told me it was him. He canceled. I said, I can't cancel. It was a non-refundable ticket. If I cancel, I just lose that nearly $1,000. So I was determined to go on, but I didn't have any money. He couldn't get no money together. So finally, he did get in touch with one of my brothers. He took a loan with $100. So that gave me enough money so I could have money for my hotel room for the week, pretty much. But that Friday, I contacted. He owed me, like I said, nearly $300. I said, "Could you pay me some of that money?" He told me, "Oh, no, I can't do it or something." He couldn't do it. He got in touch with one of my other brothers, and he loaned me $100. Then I asked him, could he pay part of the money? No, he got one of my brothers loaned me $100. No, he had to pay back that $100 to the brother who lived in the state, who had a job, his wife had a job, and his son had a job. So he didn't have to pay that brother back, but he knows I'm in a foreign country with no money. He gonna pay back the brother who lives in the United States, who's in his own house, and I was in Columbia with no money. And that Friday, I done paid, like I said, I done paid for my rent. I was there, I done paid up through that Friday. But that Friday came, I didn't have money to pay for the next night. So I had checked out of my motel room. I'm in a foreign country with no phone service and no money. And I done checked out. I'm like, Lord, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I'm in a foreign country with no money and no place to stay on the street. And once I'm out of the hotel room, I'll have no way of contacting anybody. Anything could happen to me. I'm just totally at your mercy, Lord. But one of my brothers, he came through for me. He deposited $200 or something in my account. And that worked out fine. That got me through to the next week. And the next week, my Social Security money was coming out. I had some money coming. It just didn't come right away. So I was just in a short-term type, what it amounted to. And so it worked out kind of. But as it turns out, I didn't really get to do anything special or whatever because my money was delayed for about a week and stuff. And whatever, it was just not good. And then even when I got my money, I couldn't figure out how to use the ATMs over there. It wouldn't work or something. I didn't know what I was doing, I guess. So I just mostly ate at the hotel and just stayed around there. Couldn't figure out what to do much. Didn't have much to do. Everybody I was trying to meet and talk to, it just wasn't panning out. So I just spent a lot of time praying and talking to the Lord. So finally, at the last week, somebody showed me how to get my money out of the ATM. I started to go out and spend some money, do some things. I thought, well, there's no point in it now. It was about time to go. And so I didn't get to go anywhere or do anything. Plus, I really went there expecting to meet somebody, hoping to develop some kind of relationships. It's just that wasn't happening. That wasn't in God's plan. I thought, well, ain't no point in me just spending up a lot of money. When I come back to this town or this city or this part of the country, hopefully I'll bring somebody with me I love and spend some time with them. Maybe that's be the way to do it. Because I didn't want to be sightseeing and doing stuff alone. What good is to sightsee when you're all by yourself? That's kind of a waste of time, the way I felt about that. So I wasn't all that interested in doing a whole lot of sightseeing by myself. That it wouldn't be meaningful to me to be doing a whole lot of sightseeing and spending money just by myself. Although I was in a foreign country, didn't really go and see any place, but I saw a little bit of downtown, and there's really nothing special about that visit. Except the time I got to spend with the Lord. Because if you can spend the time with the Lord anywhere, it don't cost you nothing. So when I got back to the States, I don't even know where I was going with it. But anyway, I'm working now. These are kind of thoughts go through my mind sometimes when I'm working, doing something. I think about a whole lot of different things. I guess I was talking about my assignment. When I went online, thought I'd meet somebody, I bought this house, wasn't doing nothing with it. Things wasn't working out. Well, one reason wasn't because I'd been involved in an accident, and the people wouldn't pay me my money from a settlement, so I couldn't make the improvements and stuff I wanted to make on my house. Everything was just delayed and messed up. But as I said, this is my wilderness project. And the wilderness project really wasn't going nowhere. Wilderness project was just a burden and a distraction. But I thought I'd go online, I'd meet somebody, and maybe I'd find some purpose to my life. Well, it didn't work out so well. But when I got back to the States, I was through with this dating stuff, and I was just done. Oh, that ain't gonna work. But I just felt a feeling that the Lord had somebody for me, something for me to do, but I just didn't know what it was yet. And so I was through with the online dating stuff for the most part. But while I was online doing something, just watching movies or something, I saw something about YouTube dating. No, not YouTube, Facebook dating. That's what it was, Facebook dating. Yeah. And it didn't cost any money. I thought, well, I'll give this a try. Just did a profile and got some interesting responses. People, actually, one person lived in Benton or something and worked in Pine Bluff, which is where I live. So I thought, well, that's interesting. Give that a try. Well, that didn't work out. We didn't get a chance to meet for some just foolish reason. But that's okay. But anyway, that was the first person. I said, well, this does have some potential. I met a few people online. It seemed kind of encouraging. It didn't cost anything. It was just something to do. Went through about 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then I thought, well, this ain't going nowhere. I was about done with that. After about the 7th or 8th person, I'm done with this. But then I met this person from Memphis, and I thought she was going to come to Pine Bluff to me. She said she would, but she didn't come. But she was a little hesitant or something. So I went to Memphis to meet her. Well, we went out, had dinner. It was okay, kind of. Bought a couple of nice gifts. She wasn't all what I thought she was. She was a, I don't know, she was just weird. I'll just say it that way. Then she got talking crazy. So I deleted her information after we met. She was a very big disappointment. I was through with all that. Then after that, went online. I saw this person online, and she was 68 years old. Looking at her picture, I thought, this dang, she's not 68. She's lying, that's what I thought. She just didn't want to be bothered, so she claimed she's 68, trying to discourage a lot of people. Something about her picture just stuck in my mind. So I thought, well, I guess I just couldn't get it out of my mind. I wasn't interested in talking to nobody that was anywhere near my age, because after my wife died on me, and she was even younger than me, I didn't want anybody with what I would consider any possibility of dying on me. I wanted somebody like 10 or 15 years younger than me. Or I didn't want nobody going to get sick, nobody that I figured I won't have to take care of anything. I want somebody to be able to take care of me, be with me until I die. I didn't want to have to deal with possibility of somebody dying on me. Of course, people get sick. Some could always happen. People could die, but but I was just thinking, I guess, being selfish in my thinking. But anyway, finally, I contacted her and we met. We hit it off really well, and the other people. When I first went online and started his own dating stuff, one of the people was talking about coming to. She was from Japan, China. She was talking about coming to the United States. That was, I guess, a scam. She was lying in front of just somebody probably just taking up time. Like I say, you never know these people, AI or whatever. Could be just a scam, but it didn't cost me any money on that. But she didn't come. I thought, well, the Lord had put it in my heart, count. The woman that's for me is going to come to me. Well, the woman from Memphis, I thought she would come. She was close enough. She didn't come. But I went to see her. I did get to meet her in person. And I'm through with all this dating stuff. So I figured to delete my profile. But like I said, I left it on there. I dumped it down, and I made it myself very unappealing to people mostly. But then the lady who became my fiance was on there. 68 years old. I ain't interested in nobody anywhere close to that age. But something about her picture just kept sticking out in my mind. And when I contact her, the next thing you know, she's asking me all kind of questions about where I go to church and all kind of interested in the Lord. I thought, this is going nowhere fast. I was figuring to delete her profile information. I sent her a text and said, if we can't meet in person and talk, online, talking on the phone, and be in person after about 2 visits, it's not worth my time. I sent her my phone number, and she texted me back, and she said, I'll call. And she texted me back, and she said, I'll call you tomorrow. And she gave me her phone number. Well, the next day, I'm waiting on the call. Phone didn't ring. It's near noon. So I texted her back. I said, I thought you said you were going to call today. She texted me back, LOL, I was waiting on you. I thought, oh, were you really? She told me she's going to call me, and then I get a text message from her. She said she's waiting on me. So I immediately picked up the phone and called her, and we talked for a good long while, and then we talked, and I told her every bad thing about me I could think of, every negative thing. I was going to get rid of her with real quick dispense. And she told me, I want to know everything about you. She said, stuff happens in life. Very engaging, very warm and intelligent person. And from there, we talked every day for about a week or so. And was planning on meeting. I was thinking I would go to her city, for Fort Smith, to see her. And in the meeting, she said, no, I'll come to you. Well, that's what I had envisioned. The Lord had showed me the woman that's for me is going to come to me. And she said she would come because she had a couple of grandchildren she had adopted. And she said she'd come to me, and so she did come. Well, I didn't make her a schedule. I didn't schedule a hotel room for her right away, because I figured I could do that at any time, whenever she wanted to come. But she got together and she scheduled her own hotel room and told me she was coming on that Saturday. And when she came, it was raining that day. And she told me, she called me when she's on her way. She said, my whole family know I don't do rain. And it's raining. And she was 200 miles trip to come see me. She said she don't do rain. And she was about 30 minutes from her home near Russell. And she was ready to turn around and go back home. She said, everybody in my family know I don't do rain. Thinking about turning around and go back. I'm thinking, Lord, if this is the one, she's supposed to come. If she don't come, that's it. If she ain't the one. And so I said, just come. It don't matter when you get here. Just be safe. And so she said, you better be praying. I said, okay, I'll pray. I'm praying. This is my prayer. I said, Lord, God, I thought within my heart, I just didn't pray it out loud. I just said, Lord, guide her through the rain. I didn't say, Lord, stop the rain. I said, Lord, guide her through the rain. That's what I said in my heart. Lord, guide her through the rain. She didn't want to drive in the rain. I said, Lord, guide her through the rain. And that's what the Lord did. He guided her through the rain. She drove for 3.5 hours or so, 3.5, 4 hours in the rain. And it was raining hard, mostly, I guess. When she called me, when she got to her little rock, she was outside the Pine Bluff, actually. When she called me, she asked me, what was it doing in Pine Bluff? I said, it's just drizzling, and that's all it was. It was just drizzling rain in Pine Bluff. And I was getting ready to go meet her, because I was going to meet her at Taco Bell when she got into town. I told her where to get off, and I'd meet her at the Taco Bell. Now I got in ready to get in my car, go meet her at Taco Bell. As soon as I got in the car, it turned over to the street. It came a big downpour. Started raining so hard I couldn't see how to go straight forward, hardly. Raining really hard. And I thought, when she can hear this raining like this, she's going to think I lied to her. It was raining so hard. I could hardly see how to go forward. I couldn't turn around. I couldn't stop. And I went on, and when I got there to Taco Bell, guess what it did? Stop raining. When she showed up, it wasn't raining at all. All right. Gave her a big hug and everything, and we were getting to Taco Bell to talk. First I said, give me a big hug. She gave me a big hug. Went in Taco Bell, and when we sat down at the table, we stopped and had prayer together. And I thank God for blessings to make it safely and everything. And as we were just sitting there, well, she asked me, said, well, what do you think? She was asking about her appearance. I said, you look okay. Or you look all right. She asked me about her appearance. What did I think of her appearance? I said, you look okay. Or you look fine. She was insulted by that. But she told me I was shorter than she thought. I told her I was 5'10". I was 5'10". She's 5'2". I'm towering over her. So how big do you think I'm supposed to be? I'm towering over you. You 5'2". I'm way taller than you. So obviously I must be 5'10" if you 5'2". But it turns out she had a third husband. She hadn't told me about it. And he would say things like that. And he would compliment other women. And so that's why she was insulted or offended. I didn't know this at the time. But anyway, I knew that the person that God had for me in my life was a special person, going to be a special person. I guess I was telling you about this wilderness project. Well, all this time, I'm supposed to be working on this wilderness project. But, you know, it didn't matter to me when or if I finished because I didn't have anybody in my life. And if I did meet somebody, I was prepared to sell the place and move away from the wilderness. Wilderness was something for me to do, but I didn't realize this was God's plan for my life. This was very important. I just thought it was something I was doing. This wilderness project, I thought this was just a Robert idea. I didn't realize it was a God's plan for my life, something important I'm supposed to be doing, and I hadn't been doing it, treated with the sincerity and everything I should have, I guess. Then when I met Karen, I forgot all about this wilderness project. I went to Fort Smith, and I was there for a year and a half, and I was prepared to be with her and spend the rest of my life in Fort Smith or wherever. Sell this place and move on. I told her this house could be her wedding gift. And we could sell it, do whatever she wanted with it. Well, her devilish brothers did stuff to try to break us up with the kids. But anyway, so there we go. But she had said something to me in one of the texts she sent me one day. She said she thought I had to come back to Pine Bluff to do some work on the house. She thought maybe we're going to break up because I came back to Pine Bluff to work on the house. I couldn't come back to Pine Bluff to do any work on the house. I was supposed to be trying to fix it up so it could be her wedding gift or whatever. But whenever I would leave, she was afraid I might not come back, I guess, or something. And so it was hard for me. I couldn't do any work on the house. But I really wasn't worried about it. It didn't matter that much, I thought. But she did send me a text one day, and it said something to this effect, that the Lord had spoke to her and reassured her that everything gonna be okay between the two of us. She said, just trust it. The Lord said, told him to trust me and give me time. I'd figure it out. Well, I thought it was about the problems that we were just encountering in our relationship in between her and her family and stuff like that. That wasn't what the Lord was talking about. That wasn't what the Lord was showing her, telling her. Is what I realized just the other day. The Lord told her to give me time to figure it out. I thought, well, she didn't give me time to figure it out, didn't she? Like her family didn't give me time to figure it out. But now I'm back in Pine Bluff and working on the house, and the work I'm doing on the house is a labor of love. When I think about her, I'm getting this house ready for her. And she can do whatever she wants to do with it, but this is a labor of love. This is her house. This is my promise to her from the Lord. And that's what I'm starting to realize. This is a promised house. My daughter was wanting me to give it to her last year. Like, you can kick rocks, I guess, but give me the house. She didn't care what happened to me, I guess. She just wanted the house from me. Is it going to be my house? You ain't done nothing to earn or deserve this house. Plus, I done already promised this house to Carrie. Now, even if Carrie ain't together, I just didn't feel at liberty to give it to her. And she ain't been there for me and then talk crazy. It was just, okay, that was kind of strange. So, but what I realized here just the other day, working on this house, and the Lord gave me to realize it's working without a blueprint. You know, in life, we live our lives as best we can to serve the Lord. But God doesn't give us the blueprint. God has the blueprint. God gives us instructions. God shows us and leads us the way to obey him, do what's acceptable in his sight. But we have to trust him. And he'll give us the instruction as needed to do his will. But if we cease to trust him, if we think we figured it out on our own, we'll go off and do something that is not pleasing to God and cause ourselves a whole lot of trouble and problems. That's what we do. We create problems for ourselves because we fail to trust in the Lord. We fail to acknowledge him, lean, depend on, we start trusting in what we think and what we know. That's where we mess up. Let me get some measurements here. You know, I'm talking to y'all and y'all don't get to see me that much, and I'm not doing that much work sometimes. I gotta get some measurements and cut off a piece and do this piece so I can get around here. Yeah, I gotta cut off this piece and put it on there. And then I'll get back to it. But anyway, this is the Wilderness Project, and this is what I'm supposed to be working on. But what I didn't realize, when God gives you an assignment, you must complete your assignment. When I was 19 years old, I went to see my sister in Wichita, Kansas. She said she would be going through some hard trials in her life sometime, and it would get to be overwhelming. And the problem become so great, she just couldn't seem like she could bear it anymore. And then she would pray to the Lord, and she'd ask the Lord, she'd say, Lord, move this thing. And the Lord would remove the burden. The Lord would ease the problem. And then she said it seemed like a few months later, that same type of problem would be back. And she would try to get through it and try to deal with it. And it would get to become overbearing again, over more than she could bear again. And then she'd pray and the Lord would move it again. And I just told her, I said, sister, don't you know that you can't go from the first grade to the second grade until you pass first grade? That's the way it's supposed to work. You have to pass your test. I said, God is not going to allow you to go to the next level until you pass the test that is before you. You must pass your test if you're going to progress with the Lord. That's what I told her. That's what people fail to realize. Well, God gives us assignments. God gives us tests sometimes, and we fail to realize this test is from the Lord. This assignment is from God. We just think that's something we wanted to do. That we think that's what we were doing at the time because we didn't have nothing else to do. Sometimes that's God's assignment for your life. And you must do that assignment. You must learn to master your assignment, or else you're not going to be able to please the Lord. Well, I didn't realize that my wilderness project was God's assignment for my life. I just thought it was something I was doing because I didn't have nothing else to do. And when I found me something else to do, I was trying to do that something else. And I had completed the assignment God gave me. In fact, my fiancée, at some point I told her, I said, I came to help you and your children. That's what I thought my assignment was to do, and help her. The Lord told me, you know, I can help them, and I can, and should. But what's in the house making all kind of racket? Okay. I could help them, and that was my assignment. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this off. Then I'll see if this piece of film here. So that was the assignment. Okay, got that cut off. cut a little longer than what I wanted it to. Maybe it'll fit. I hope it does. Don't I'm have to do something else. But anyway, I forget what I was talking about exactly. But so yeah, sometimes we think the assignment is one thing. I was saying to her, you don't need to make my mission impossible that God has assigned me to do. Don't make the mission impossible. I'm doing all I can to please the Lord and try to do right. But, don't you make my mission impossible. Make it unnecessarily hard because of what you do. Sometimes people make your mission impossible. That's what I thought, and I was trying to help her. Well, that, because I wasn't doing the other mission. I forgot all about that wilderness project. that was going to be her house, her wedding gift. She could do whatever she wanted to do with it, but that wasn't going nowhere because I was neglecting that mission. I never thought about that was God's mission for my life. I wasn't expecting that to be a thing, really. But I guess it was. Thank the Lord. It's intended for me to be faithful about. Apparently. I wasn't taking it as faithfully as I should have. Trying to put a board in place here. In case y'all wonder what I'm doing. I cut it just. I missed my mark. I was trying to cut it on the mark, and I just missed the mark. Trying to drive it into place. I got a different saw up here. I may have to go get this other saw to relieve it a little. I think that's what I'm going to do. Walk around here and get the other saw and bring it over here. Try to cut it, relieve it a little. But anyway, so I have been abandoning my mission of the Wilderness Project. And I got to get back on the Wilderness Project. And that's what I've been working on here lately. And the Lord is blessing me, and I'm making great progress now. It's not a Wilderness Project anymore. When I got back here, I told y'all some months ago, the Lord gave me another name for it. It's not the Wilderness Project anymore. It's Reclaiming the Land. Gotten it together where I'm making progress. Start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, as the expression goes, and things are moving forward. Still, I had never thought about living here. Afterward, I figured finish it up, do whatever, sell it, do whatever, move on. But I realized, no, my daughter, it's not me to give up. So I realized this upper room I'm planning to do, Lord, I didn't have no blueprint for it, but the Lord brought it to my mind to build an upper room. Had that in my mind for about 7 years now. I had mapped it out and figured out how to do it, kind of, but I hadn't done it yet. But now, It's almost completion. Lots of the things are coming together, falling into place as I'm starting to trust the Lord more. Realizing that this is God's assignment. This is something that is of the Lord, not just something I wanted to do. I could took this and took it or left it. This wasn't that important to me. But apparently, some things are important to God. It's an act of faithfulness, an act of trust and belief in Him, and He will bring it to pass whatever He wants to do. And all this other stuff is a distraction that the devil brings against us to keep us and try to hinder us from doing the will of the Lord. So now that I understand this is the mission, this wilderness project has to be completed. This is the assignment. And God, when He gives us something to do in our lives, He doesn't give us a blueprint. He doesn't give us a full list of instructions. He just says, trust me. Isn't that amazing? God wants you to trust Him. He don't give you a lot of instructions. He says, trust me. And what you need to know will reveal to you at the time you need to know it if you trust Him. That's what we have to learn, is how to trust and to lean on the Lord, depend on Him. Lean not to your own understanding, but lean, trust, and depend on the Lord. That's what I'm learning. That's what I'm doing now, trusting in the Lord. Some things I want to talk to people about, some things I want to do, haven't said or done anything. I asked my brother 2 weeks ago, almost 2.5 weeks ago, about if he could just stop by for a few hours, help me get the siding start something. He didn't want to do it. He didn't come by. So I realized no help is coming. When I realized that, it's time to trust in the Lord. And when you start to trust in the Lord, things start falling into place. You start seeing progress where you couldn't see no progress before. I had been waiting about doing some cleaning up inside the house and doing some different things. I wasn't able to make any progress. I couldn't seem like motivated to do the most basic things. But early this week, it's about halfway cleaned up now. I would have thought I would have had it more cleaned up and finished, but I had to get back on doing some of this construction work. But I'm going to get back on it this afternoon, tonight, and get some more of it picked up and done. By the middle of next week, I'm going to have probably the walls up in the upper room, and I should have all the trash picked up and stuff in the house pretty much, and ready to start painting. One thing I've done, as I showed y'all earlier, the room that's off from the upper room, the other room, it's a pretty good sized room as well. I've cleaned it out. If you can saw, the floor is pretty clean. I'm gonna need a mop and stuff. And probably put some floor wax or something on it. Help seal it sort of. Get rid of the dust and stuff off of it. But it's cleaned out pretty much. And that's good, because if I got something downstairs needs to come up here somewhere and be stored up here somewhere, I can bring it up here and store it. So that's good. As I'm talking to you, yeah, like I say, the funny thing is when you're old, I done come over here and got the saw. And when I came over here, it wasn't that far, but when I came over here, I sat down. Isn't that terrible when you're old? First thing you do is you look for a place to sit. I remember my mother, she was 95 years old, almost. Her bed was close to her half bath. It's only about 15 feet from her bed to the bathroom. When she got up out of her bed, it actually was probably 10 feet. When she get up out of her bed, no more than 15 feet, but 10 feet probably. When she get up out of her bed, she could hold on to the wall if she needed to, and walk along the wall to the half bath. Open the door and go in. She had a chair sitting outside of her door, about halfway, about 6 feet from her bed. In case she got tired or weak, she could sit down before she go to the bathroom. And then when she go to the bathroom, so it's about 6 feet, she had a chair so she could sit down. It makes sense. You never know when you be hit with some weakness or whatever. I went to see her one time on a Sunday afternoon, apparently she had fallen that Saturday or that Sunday, early sometime today. She had a black eye where she had fallen and hit her head against the wall or something. My older brother been down to see her. Well, no, it was on a Monday when I would see her. My brother had been down on a Sunday. She had fallen sometime on Sunday, I guess. Hit her head, had a black eye, and he went back to Little Rock instead of staying with his mother, make sure she's okay. I didn't tell nobody, and he left her like that. I thought, that's horrible. She could have had a hemorrhage and could have bled to death or anything. He left her like that. That's sad. Sometimes people can be so selfish and so inconsiderate. But it wasn't many months after that. He had a stroke there at her house. From what the mother said, he drove himself back to Little Rock after having a stroke. My mother thinks she saw him laying on the floor. I don't know if she did or not. I don't know if he passed it. My mother said, yeah, did you hear that Jay was sick? I said, no. She said, yeah, he been real bad sick. She said she saw him on the floor one night. I don't know if she saw that or she dreamed about it. But she said she saw him on the floor. She lied to saw him on the floor. She lied to something. She said she saw him on the floor. And she got up and went to bed. But see, there wasn't nothing she could do. I guess she felt if he dead, and then somebody else will deal with him the next day. She went to bed. She said she saw him. I don't know if she dreamed that or what, but she said she saw him on the floor and she went to bed. That sounded kind of bizarre, but if he was that kind of way, if he got in that kind of shape, she didn't know what to do for him. She said she left it. That's messed up. But people say and do some messed up stuff in life. People get confused. When they get under stress, they may say and do anything. That's like my brother. He was all so concerned, told me I need to get my prostate checked because two of my brothers had cancer. I ought to get checked. He said he'd been checked. So I get him to check my stuff, and this comes back high. He told me he would take off and go with me to the biopsy. I told him I wasn't doing no biopsy. I was fine, didn't have no symptoms. I don't know what the deal is with him. I talked to him. I hadn't talked to him in over 2 weeks now. Normally I talk to him once, twice a week or more. But I asked him last time I talked to him, I asked him about come back up here. I told him I'd tear off all the side and he could just help me get it started. He told me he had to do something, his weekends holidays on or something. He didn't want to come, he didn't show up. Ain't heard from him since. I could have called, well I did try to call him earlier last week, or earlier this week. Didn't get no response, so he could have called me back. He saw it, but he didn't call me back. I sent him a text message showing him something last week when I put my late wife's headstone up on the 12th. He didn't respond back to that either. So anyway, it is what it is, as they say. I ain't gonna worry about it. But so I hadn't heard from him. But I don't know why I ain't heard from him. I ain't gonna worry about it. Sometimes people act like they're so concerned, and I don't know what they be doing. I just don't know. I ain't worry about it. People do what they do. Sometimes if people think you're sick, what did that song say, Marvin Wine say? Say, I came to you in love, I came to you in earnest. But say, some people just don't want to know. Sometimes you may be going through something, sometimes maybe you think you're going through something, and they just don't want to know. You try to tell them what you're going on, or you looking for them for help, and they ain't trying to help you. They don't want to know. They'll show up at your funeral, though. After two of my brothers treated my mother so badly, then they wound up treating me badly. I had to come and stay with my mother for 4 months because of their mess up. Then my sister talked bad about me, and I was treated so badly by my brothers and my sister. Like I was the enemy. And I was the one who was there for them. And so anyways, when my mother passed, I didn't even go to her funeral. Because I didn't want to hear her children lie about how they love their mama, how all they care about their mama. I didn't want to hear their lies. That's like the brother I was talking to you about just now. Talked to him a few months ago, and he was telling me he always treated my mother right. And I said, that's a lie. I said, if you don't repent of that lie, you're going to die and go to hell for it. You didn't always treat mother right. You and my older brother was trying to put her in a nursing home. So don't be trying to say you always treated mother right. You always did things from looking out for her. Not true. And one of the things is sometimes people will say things to you and you have nobody else to talk to about it. He claims that he took out a life insurance policy on my mother and claimed he got $3,000 from the life insurance policy. And he gave it toward mother's funeral expenses. Like I said, I didn't go to the funeral because I didn't feel like hearing no lies and being part of no mess. But the fact is, if he gave $3,000 for mother's funeral, was paid for out of a life insurance policy, he used mother's money to buy the life insurance policy. He didn't use his own money. He was always getting money from mother to do something. So if he bought a life insurance policy, he used her money to do it. Rest assured of that. Because when I was taking care of my mother one day, he came there supposedly to get a check to pay mother's propane bill. And because I was there, he went into mother's room, mother was in the bed, and got her to sign the check. And he told me her handwriting must be really bad. She barely could sign it, but she signed it. He supposedly paid for $500 for gas to go from my mother's house. Then 2 weeks later, my older brothers paying the gas bill, $500 for my mother's gas. Now this brother done got a check for $500, paid for the gas. Apparently he paid for gas to go to his house. Something was shady going on with that. That's the way people do. And they may like they all on the up and up. No, you're not. What you doing ain't right. And you ought to know that ain't right. Don't be fronting, acting like you all good when you ain't done good. I'm gonna try to do this with this up there. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. Try to cut it within its place. It's gonna make a lot of racket. Let's see if this is gonna work now or not. Might not. Probably need to do a little more. I'm gonna take that. Now that I got it out up here, I'm just gonna trick it, cut it off with the saw down here on the left. But anyways, he pretended like he used the money on my mother's funeral. He may have taken out a life insurance policy on my mother, but rest assured, mother paid for it. And why would he only take out a $3,000 policy? I don't believe he took out a $3,000 policy. try this again. I done cut some of it off. I might have messed it up. Might not even work now. I'll try to nail it in place again. But anyway, so he's supposed to have this insurance policy. Claim he spent the $3,000, gave it to for my mother's burial expenses. He probably took out a $10,000. He was selling life insurance policy at one time. So I'm pretty sure he'd take out some kind of insurance policy. But rest assured, it most likely was way more than a $3,000 policy. Just try to make somebody think it was only a $3,000 policy is ludicrous. Okay? I believe it was much more than a $3,000 policy. But he took out a $3,000 policy, and like he gave it to help pay mother's burial expenses. Okay. You mean I took out a $3,000 policy? But rest assured, I believe that way more than that. He got way more than that $3,000 policy. And I believe he kept the money. Of course, it didn't cost me nothing, it wasn't my money. My mother trusted him. Parents trust their children sometimes. Sometimes they trust the wrong children. That's the problem. Too, sometimes the child they trust the most ain't the most trustworthy. Let me say that again. Sometimes the child the parents trust the most is not the most trustworthy child. That's sad to say. We trust people sometimes we shouldn't be trusted. Got way too much confidence in some people. We shouldn't be having that confidence in them because it's not warranted. Just like my older brother, after they messed her around, gonna try to put her in a nursing home, do all that kind of stuff. I helped straighten out stuff for her so that they couldn't do that to her. Okay. That's gonna be sturdy. Thank the Lord. Yes, indeed. That is sturdy enough. That's sturdy. That's gonna work. Thank God. I'm left-handed, but I do pretty good driving nails with my right hand. Sometimes I do better with my right hand than with my left hand. And sometimes these nails just ain't the very best of nails. Anyway, I got this corner really solid. So now I'm ready to move around to the other side where I was supposed to be in the first place. So I'm going back around to the other side where I'm supposed to be. I'll adjust my camera angle after a while, probably. Maybe y'all will be able to see me a little better or something, talk to you a little bit. Got that done. Sometimes, what I was saying, when you're working and doing things, sometimes it seems like you're not making much progress, but what you're doing is necessary. You can't go to the next step, the next level until you get that done. Whatever it takes to get it done, it's just what you have to do. And sometimes we have trouble understanding that. And I didn't have no blueprint for what I just did. But guess what? It's a really professional job that I did the way I fixed that. It looks really great. What do you think? And I'm not bragging on myself. It looks like somebody did that, know what they're doing. And the truth is, the Lord showed me and gave me how to do it. It's a good job that was done fixing that. It's the way it needs to be fixed. It looks really good. It could have been a little more level. The reason it's not more level, now you might say, well, it's not level. It's not because I didn't have a level. If I'd had a level, I would have cut it and leveled it. Or I would have leveled it when I put it down. But it didn't have a level, that's why it's unlevel. And working by myself, I just put it up there as the best I could and nailed it. But it's nail solid. The thing is, that's an interior wall. It's going to be enclosed. Not going to be visible to the eye. So it's not important that it be aesthetically pleasing, because that's not going to be seen. That's skeletal. The only thing about the skeleton is it needs to be solid. It needs to be secure. And that is extremely secure. And that's the important thing, the security of it. I'm going to go get the camera and show you what it looks like in a minute. That is secure. So I'm going to go get that and show you right now what it looks like. And I could have did that probably in 10 minutes time if I was just working on it, or maybe 5, 8, 6, 8 minutes, whatever. If I'd just been working on it, not talking to y'all or doing anything, just focused on it. But I got that corner fixed really solid. I still got a couple of more 2x4s to put in the wall back there, but that's not important right now. That'll be done later on when I get ready to work on that part of the wall. I'm not doing that today or any time this next week. So that'll come in time. I got some due on the other side. I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got about 5 or 6 due on the other side. I got about a total of 7, 8 2x4s due on this one side. And I got, well, I probably got about, probably got about 15 altogether that I'm gonna need to put in when it's all said and done. But most of those are not to be done right now. It's not a priority. The priority is getting 2 more on this side over here. So I'm thinking to adjust my light. Gotta fix my pants. Somehow I bought a brand new belt. When you get older, you lose your hips. And like your belly just drops down some, you lose your hips. I tightened this belt all the way up, and it still don't hold the pants up. I started to buy me some suspenders the other day. Next time I go back into Walmart, I'm gonna buy me a pair of suspenders. That's what I need. To keep my pants up where I need them. I just need suspenders. When I was in the 1st grade, I couldn't keep my pants up. My mother made me some suspenders out of some strings or something. Because when I belt, my pants be falling off me. She made me some suspenders out of some thread or something. And somehow they broke. While I was trying to fix how to fix them so I could keep my clothes up, I missed the bus and I got left at school. I went over to this man's store's house. The man had a store right across from the school. His daughter, I went over there and I stayed at his house. And they fed me dinner and everything until my dad got off work and they picked me up and brought me home. I don't know how they found out I guess they called and told my daddy. They knew who I was, so they called. I guess I knew my last name. I don't know. I think I always knew my last name was Blackwell. But as we're talking about, that's a funny story. One of my brothers was older, and when he went to school, his name was Charles Willis Blackwell. His name was Charles. But everybody called him Buddy. And when he went to school one day, somebody asked him his name. I said, "What's your name?" He said, "His name Buddy." I said, "No, what's your real name?" He said, "My name is Buddy." He told him his name was Buddy. He didn't know his last name. All he knew, he was Buddy. And the people was making fun of him because he told him his name was Buddy. When he got home, he said, "I told him my name was Buddy." And they said, "No, what's your real name?" And when they told him what his name was Charles, he got so mad. He didn't want anybody to ever call him Buddy after that anymore because he got embarrassed because people would call him Buddy, and that wasn't his name. He thought his name was Buddy. That's like some people get called Butch or something or whatever, or Bubba. Matter of fact, there was one guy in my class in high school. His name, we called him Butch Lunsford, was what we called him. And at graduation, when they called his name, I don't remember what his name was. But it was like it might have been sound like an aristocratic name or something. Whatever his name was, it wasn't a name that I ever heard before or since hardly. It was like Windsor or something. It was something. It was Winthrop or something. It was some weird name. It wasn't even like Winthrop because I know that from Rockefeller. But it was some kind of a name. Winslow, I don't know, because I've heard names like Winslow. So it wasn't like just a last name that you normally hear. But he had some kind of a name that was weird. Never heard that name before. And when it was called for him, nobody knew it was him, who is this? And when he walked up, everybody was dumbfounded. We had never heard his name before. Nobody knew his name. I think you put this wall up across here. I think to put this light back up so you'll be able to see where I'm going to be working on this back side. I got to put up 2 or 3 boards so I can get ready to close the stairwell in. Once I get it together to close the stairwell in, that's going to be important. Yeah, it's going to be really important. Let me adjust my light. This is what I be doing. When you get old, you don't move so fast. So that's part of the problem. I move slower. I can get a lot of work done. I just don't do it in a hurry like I used to. I can get a lot done in a day's time. I just do it much slower. And sometimes I have so many aches and pains, and I'll be like, what's wrong with me? I don't realize how much I have worked for an old man. I did so much work. I don't pace myself very well. I just work. Lots of times I just work. Okay, that after start adjusted my life. Let me take my phone down and show you what I've been working on. Let's see. Get it. Turn it off of me. That's what I just worked on finishing right there. It don't look like a whole lot of work. But you see that cross piece there? That's what I put up over there. And I put another piece across there. I put two, 3 pieces in there. I put that 2 cross pieces, both of those cross pieces, what I was working, and fixed it over there. And that's basically all I did. So that's what I'm working on right now. Don't look like anybody in the chat room. So I'm going to shut this down for right now. And I'll be back. Let's see, what time is it? I'll be back on at 8 o'clock on Robert Blackwell 4715.